All right, we'll call the October 3rd. Meeting of the council order. Please rise for a moment of silence, followed by the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Byerly.
Here.
Councilmember Conklin.
Here.
Councilmember Missouri. Here. Councilmember Stevenson.
Here.
Councilmember Brinker.
Here.
Councilmember Morris. Mayor Long.
Here. Approval of the minutes of September 26th regular meeting.
I move acceptance.
Second. I have a motion and a second. Any further comments or questions? Call for the vote.
Councilmember Byerly.
Yes.
Councilmember Conklin.
Yes.
Councilmember Missouri.
Yes.
Councilmember Stevenson.
Yes.
Councilmember Brinker.
Yes.
Mayor Long.
Yes. Public comments and requests. Any comments from residents or city taxpayers?
I have none, Your Honor.
Requests. Use of the levy for October 14th to 16th.
Penn State University film majors would like to use a portion of the levy from October on one of the days between October 14th and 16th. They have not specified which day yet. It'll depend on what the weather is like. They'll let me know closer to it. They want to film a project. They will be required to sign waivers. And in the event they need to block off any sections for a short amount of time, I'll work with the chief of police to make sure that's done safely.
Motion.
Second.
Motion floor, a second. Any questions or comments on the motion? I don't show up. Pause long enough just to see, make sure Steve doesn't have questions. Call for the vote, please.
Councilmember Byerly.
Yes.
Councilmember Conklin.
Yes.
Councilmember Missouri.
Yes.
Councilmember Stevenson.
Yep.
Councilmember Brinker.
Yes.
Mayor Long.
Yes.
I was expecting Steve to suggest that we have somebody from Lockhaven University supervise them.
I just expected something. So. He must be resting up for.
Oh, yeah.
Prime time. 4C, use of Zendel Park.
Craig Fleming is requesting the uses in the park for the Golden Beast for next year on September 23rd, 2023. I'll make sure they provide all the proper insurance forms as well as the special activities agreement.
Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Motion floor and a second. Any questions or comments on the motion?
Just to, in the event that we have equipment up in there by then, which we may, and parts of that, he should keep in touch with us as projects begin, because it's going to make a difference, a big difference over the next couple of years in that event. I think they can work around it. There's enough trail space up there to work around it, but it's still going to be a headache for the guys that put the trail together.
Yeah, I'll make sure we're staying in constant contact with them as well.
Any other comments, questions? Call for the vote, please.
Councilmember Byerly.
Yes.
Councilmember Conklin.
Yes.
Councilmember Missouri.
Yes.
Councilmember Stevenson.
Yes.
Councilmember Brinker.
Yes.
Mayor Long.
Yes. Any other requests, comments? Unfinished business, 5A, consideration of ordinance number 2022-09.
This is the second reading of an ordinance that updates the right turn on red at particular intersections downtown to match the traffic study that was done by PennDOT during the preliminary work for the installation of the new signals, and also adds a four-way stop at North Hannah Street and East Church Street.
Do I have a motion?
Move the ordinance.
Second.
And a second. Any further comments?
I have a question.
Sure.
I like consistency. I noticed that they moved one of the morning times different than the rest. in the evening times all move together. So I think it'd be us to make them all the same instead of different intersections, different times, even by an hour. I think consistency is really important.
They are signed or will be signed to match this, which is what the traffic study called for. The one particular intersection, East Main and J, has higher traffic flow earlier in the morning than the others do.
But it's turning right on red, so it doesn't. It still creates a flow of traffic. And you don't want it to back. I've seen it backed up, clear to the bridge and onto the bridge. Because they can't clear the intersection fast enough. So now when we extend those hours, those people won't be able to turn sooner than what they do. They have to sit there and wait for the light. I just looked at more consistency than I did different times. Like, that was my comment.
Anyone else comments? Motion is to pass the ordinance as written at this time, correct? Who made the motion?
I guess, yes.
Call for the vote?
Councilmember Byerly.
Yes.
Councilmember Conklin.
Yes,
Councilmember Missouri.
Yes.
Councilmember Stevenson.
Yes,
Councilmember Brinker.
Yes.
Mayor Long.
Yes. 5B, consideration of resolution number 2022-41.
This is a resolution that was discussed by council at the last meeting to take the remaining funds from the American Rescue Plan and put them into the general fund to cover qualifying reimbursements. That's detailed in the resolution itself, what the city has spent the money on so far. And this current draw would be $626,986.86.
What's the wish of council?
move the resolution moving the for qualifying reimbursements.
Second. Motion on the floor in a second. Any questions or comments? Call for the vote, please.
Councilmember Byerly.
Yes.
Councilmember Conklin.
yes,
Councilmember Missouri.
Yes.
Stevenson. Member Brinker.
Yes.
Councilmember.
Councilmember Morse, do you have a vote? Richard? Richard, are you hearing me? Are you hearing me now, Richard? We'll move on.
Mayor Long.
Yes. Item number 5C, ordinance number 2022-10.
This is an ordinance also discussed by council at the last meeting. This calls for a prohibition against consumer fireworks in the city of Lockhaven without the issuance of a permit for the same. The permit will be issued by the city fire code official, which is currently Fire Chief Bob Knapp. Excuse me. And application for the same would be able to be picked up here at City Hall. It obviously has the caveats that the law requires, which apply mostly to particular holidays that people would not need a permit for the 4th of July, for example. However, that still means that if you set it off, you still have to be 150 feet from a vehicle or any building structure.
That just removes the permit requirement, correct?
Correct. But there still is a prohibition against the use, regardless of the time of year. Within that restriction. There are also other restrictions in the law, so we encourage everyone to become familiar with that. You have to be so far from a facility that sells propane, which there are several of in the community. You have to be a particular distance from a place that sells fuel. So especially up on the hill, it would be very difficult to set off fireworks the closer you get to 2nd Avenue. Because not just does the city have fuel, but 7-Eleven does, and also Nittany Energy and the period.
So what you're saying is just because it's one of the allowed holidays doesn't mean it's a free for all.
Correct.
What's the wish of council?
I'll move the ordinance as noted.
I'll second.
Motion on the floor and a second. Any further discussion, questions? Call for the vote.
Councilmember Byerly,
Yes.
Councilmember Conklin,
Yes,
Councilmember Missouri,
Yes.
Councilmember Stevenson,
Yes.
Councilmember Brinker,
Yes.
Councilmember Morris.
Can you hear us yet, Richard?
He looks muted.
I'd say it looks like it's muted.
You may be on mute if you're not aware of that. Oh, he's obviously having technical difficulties. Go ahead.
Mayor Long,
Yes. 5D, distribution of the 2021 fiscal year annual audit. Excuse me.
So the great big audit, which is called this statement, is a pretty significant document. And that is available on the city's website. It's also available for anyone to review here at City Hall. The much easier to read version of that same thing is the document that's included in City Council's packet today. This is the municipal annual audit and financial report that's submitted to the Department of Community and Economic Development. Every municipality in the state submits this to DCED. You can go online to DCED's website and find this exact document for every municipality in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. If you don't find one for a municipality there, it's likely that they are no longer receiving state funding until they turn that in. So for the city, just some highlights. We did receive 17.5 million in revenues in the fiscal year 2021. We expended 15.4 million in expenditures. The difference, which is about $2 million, is money we received that's committed to be spent in 2022 or later. That would mostly be the borrowed proceeds. We also, as a city, saw nearly $2.3 million in capital improvements take place during the fiscal year. Obviously, much of those are in water. About 870,000 was in water, which is part of the city's overall $27 million improvement to the dams and the exploration of supplemental water wells in the pipeline. So if anybody has any questions, feel free to ask. The nice thing about this report, though, you can see all revenues by type gathered together. So you can see basically how much we get for the water system, charges for services that come in for that. You can also see expenditures like something like the airport. You can find that under item number 440. It'll tell you that with the exclusion of benefits of employees, it does include wages, but not the benefits. We spent $478,985 on airport operations in 2021. Benefits are called out separately in a section, not wages, but benefits. And so in that section, you can see that employer paid benefits overall, including workers' compensation, health insurance, and pension contributions, and taxes paid is $1.8 million worth of benefits that the city provided to its employees.
Any questions? We have any other unfinished business?
We did not.
A new business 6A, consideration of resolution number 2022-42.
For the next two items, I'm playing the role of City Planner Abigail Roberts, who is at her planning conference. This is the resolution to apply for this year's 2022 CDBG funding in the amount of $309,298.
Motion,
Move.
Any further discussion, questions? Call for the vote.
Councilmember Byerly,
Yes.
Councilmember Conklin,
Yes,
Councilmember Missouri,
Yes.
Councilmember Stevenson.
Yeah.
Councilmember Brinker,
Yes.
Councilmember Morris,
Yes,
Mayor Long.
Yes, welcome, Richard.
thank you. Had a bit of a connection problem.
Got it straightened out now, just in time for you to get a few of you. 6B, consideration of the award of the agreement for aviation engineering.
AI has been our contractor who provides engineering services for the airport. Our next project is a $500,000 improvement to the folding large hangar doors on hangar 1 and hangar 2, and also windows on hangar 2. Replacement windows. And that in total is a $500,000 project. This is the agreement to have GAI perform the engineering for that project.
Do I have a motion?
second,
Motion floor and a second. Any further discussion? Call for the vote.
Councilmember Byerly,
Yes.
Councilmember Conklin,
yes,
Councilmember Missouri,
Yes.
Councilmember Stevenson. Councilmember Brinker.
Yes.
Councilmember Morris,
Yes,
Mayor Long.
Yes. Have any other new business?
I have none, Your Honor.
FYI reports authorities.
So the only notice we got in this one whole week in between council meetings is a letter from DEP that just asks municipal officials, and obviously I want to bring it up to the public as well, but anyone who knows of any abandoned gas or oil wells to contact DEP. They do have a program that they can address.
Anything else?
That is all I have.
Anyone else have anything to bring before council this evening? Do I have a motion to adjourn?
well, I suppose I might as well do something.
You made it just in time, Richard.
So moved. You'd have been there a long time otherwise.